I can say this story was in a big meeting with a big customer one time, and they were having to make a decision that was a hard decision on technology. And the one gentleman said, I am 16 months, 4 days, and 2 hours away from retirement. Why would I take this risk to pick your solution? And I went, that's his story, is that he's counting it down. By the way, he actually got fired because they
I,
didn't,
I wonder why.
because he was retired in place. But again, these stories that we tell ourselves that are believable to ourselves to get us stuck. And then if we believe those stories and we're stuck, then it can look like that culture is that bucket over there because I'm stuck in it. There's nothing I can do. I'm a victim of it.
Like this, I accept the story of the person who knew how many days, months, and hours before he was or she was going to be retired, right? His culture was, I'm not responsible anymore. Then, therefore, his culture was, I'm not responsible. And it probably showed up in many places in his world because he had that. And you can have the story that I'm not responsible when you're 25 or when you're 65 or when you're 85, right? When you lose the story of I'm responsible for whatever it is you want to be responsible for, you're no longer contributing to the culture. You're actually creating it in a detracting from what we would call a healthy culture. What is the story that you have about the responsibility for setting it up? And I love the word responsibility because it perturbs the bejeebies out of me, right? Because you always go, you're responsible for that. And that's like blame. And we got to pull blame and responsibility apart.
Mm-hmm.
I can be responsible for something, and it doesn't mean I'm blaming myself if I don't get it done. I can still just be responsible for doing it. And when you hold you responsible for your future, you can say, I'm responsible for my future. There's been a dramatic change in this company. This is no longer where I want to work. I'm going to resign. That's being responsible. You could say, I will be here for 6 months and then I will resign or I'll leave. Or you can say, I need to know more about this company and the people who are running it and like the space that I'm in before I actually get in and say, yes, I'm committed to stay in this company. And then so then you got to go meet people. You got to go talk to them. You got to find out what they're up to. And then you can make an assessment whether you stay or whether you go. But that's being responsible for
Mm-hmm.
your culture and everything else around you. Now imagine an organization that everybody's doing that. Like I'm being responsible. I'm responsible for when I show up. I'm being responsible for the culture I create, the way I treat people, the way other people treat me. And what I've observed, it takes a minimum amount of people, like I say, a minimum. There's a certain number, and it can be bigger than this, but you've got to have a certain number of people to create a very positive culture. If it's 4 people, you got to have 2, right? Or if it's 20 people, you got to have 5, right? And they'll create a really amazing culture. And one person can destroy it.